In 2024, both UPS and FedEx announced multiple fuel surcharge increases, 4 from UPS and 3 from FedEx. These frequent changes highlight a growing trend of carrier-driven pricing adjustments that shippers simply can't afford to ignore. Hey there, shippers, and welcome to the Reveel Network channel, where we tackle everything parcel shipping, saving you time, money, and most importantly, headaches along the way. My name is Jack McCrum, and I am the Director of Optimization and Analytics here at Reveel. Join me and my team as we embark on another fun-filled year to navigate the ins and outs of parcel shipping. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me for another episode where we discuss one of my favorite topics in the parcel industry, the evolution of fuel surcharges. So let's jump in with two of the most recent updates from FedEx and UPS. What you see on the screen here is what you would look at is if you signed into either carrier website. If you're going to FedEx and looking at fuel surcharges, you would see what's up on the left-hand side. If you're going to UPS, you would see what's on the right. Now, oftentimes these fly under the radar as you have to specifically monitor each carrier page to see these changes happen in real time. And that's becoming more and more necessary for shippers to really stay on top of these really wily charges. In 2024, just to give you an example, both UPS and FedEx announced multiple fuel surcharge increases, 4 from UPS and 3 from FedEx. These frequent changes highlight a growing trend of carrier-driven pricing adjustments that shippers simply can't afford to ignore. The regular intervals are part of a broader market shift that we're seeing with both carriers as they move towards this dynamic pricing that we keep talking about. And it aligns more closely with something like a demand surcharge or an update that we're seeing with delivery area surcharges. We're seeing the broadening out of definitions on charges that are outside of the general rate increase. Now, fuel is kind of in a category of its own because it's much more unique in the sense that it's a multiplier charge. Simply put, it's a multiplier effect that touches every single one of your packages and charges that have already been increased in the market. So it's incredibly important for shippers to stay on top of these charges and the updates that we're starting to see on a much more regular basis. Let's take a look at what it looks like from a UPS perspective when we focus in on the ground updates in 2024. Now, what you see on the screen highlighted is really where I saw the packages begin the year at with that fuel pricing adjustment. So at the beginning of 2024, you would have had a 15% surcharge before you'd have any discounts applied. And at the end of the year, you would have an 18% discount with increases happening all along the way. Now, what's really interesting if you're paying close attention to the bracket on the left is the bracket itself has actually shifted, making even small fluctuations in the energy market much more noticeable and pronounced in these percent increases on a week-over-week basis. Now, what this means for shippers is that this is a strategic move from carriers like FedEx and UPS to enhance what you constantly hear from me, revenue quality. So as you're looking at your programs today, just keep in mind that this is a charge that is subject to change as we look into 2025. We do expect more of these changes to happen along the way. Just keep in mind. You know, when I started looking into this topic, one of the things that really caught my eye is the disconnect between these fuel surcharge updates and what we're seeing in the energy markets themselves. So what you see on the screen here comes from the EIA. It's a government organization that effectively monitors changes in the energy industry. And if you look at on the far right there, what we saw in 2024 was largely a decline in energy prices when we're looking at diesel. Yet again, we go back to those changes that we're seeing from FedEx and UPS. And while the energy market itself is declining, we're seeing these fuel surcharges increase. It shows really how important these charges are to FedEx and UPS in bolstering their revenue quality. So as you have discussions with your carriers, always keep in the back of your mind that the charges themselves aren't necessarily related to the industry that they're supposedly being based off of. It's just an interesting disconnect. Use that how you will. I would use that in a negotiation if I was negotiating a fuel surcharge discount. Now, what does this all mean for carriers and shippers? If we look at 2024, what I did here is I mocked up an example of a package that would ship on the 1st of 2024 before any of these announcements took place with UPS, and then when the last announcement took place, which was December 23rd, 2024. Now, what you notice here is that the fuel surcharge actually increased 20%, irrespective of any other increase, whether that's in ground, residential, the transportation rate, whether that's the residential surcharge or a DAS charge. The actual surcharge itself just increased 20%. And what that means for a shipper is that you're now paying 37 cents more on a package where no parameters have shifted from that actual profile. And this has huge ramifications down the line. If you've negotiated a fuel surcharge discount, if you've talked about fuel with your rep, it all changes, right? I mean, if you're looking at a 25% discount on fuel surcharges at the beginning of the year, effectively you're getting about a 10 to 12% discount at the end of the year. It's important that shippers are aware of this change and understand that as these changes come through, this is an increase that is coming on what seemingly is turning into a more quarterly basis than what we've seen in the past itself. So keep aware that these increases have actual implications on your shipping program, especially as you multiply this 37 cents out across thousands or even millions of parcels that are going out your dock. Fuel surcharges are, simply put, here to stay, and they're evolving. Shippers need to stay informed, analyze their costs regularly, and engage their carrier account reps. Start negotiating for better fuel discounts if you have them in your contract today, and if not, on a much more regular basis, and largely mirror what we saw in 2024. All this to say, be aware, be on top of your program, and if for fun, sign in, listen to what we're talking about in the industry, tune into these kinds of videos and more. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button, subscribe for more tips, or share your own shipping strategies in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and cheers to a successful 2025.